This predator did not chase its prey, it erased it. In a world already ruled by giants, Sarcosuchus grew far beyond what biology should have allowed, and for years, scientists struggled to explain how it was even possible. In the 1940s and 1950s, French paleontologist Albert Félix de Lapparent uncovered enormous crocodilian fossils buried deep within the Sahara Desert. At the time, the region was already arid and hostile, making the discovery even more unexpected. While early researchers initially assumed the remains belonged to an unusually large crocodile, similar to oversized versions of species still alive today, but as additional skull fragments, vertebrae, and armored plates were recovered, that explanation began to fall apart. The proportions were wrong, the skull was far longer than expected, and the anatomy did not match any known crocodilian lineage. In 1966, French paleontologist Philippe Taquet formally described the species as Sarcosuchus imperator, meaning flesh-eating crocodile emperor. The name reflected more than its size. It acknowledged that this animal represented a completely different evolutionary path. Its bones suggested a predator built on a scale, and with growth patterns no living crocodilian could replicate, forcing scientists to rethink the upper limits of reptilian size. Sarcosuchus was enormous, even by prehistoric standards. An estimate based on multiple fossil reconstructions suggests it reached 11 to 12 meters in length, stretching up to 40 feet, and may have weighed as much as 8 tons. That mass alone places it among the largest reptilian predators ever to exist. For comparison, the largest modern saltwater crocodiles rarely exceed 6 meters, and even the most extreme individuals are less than half the length of Sarcosuchus, but sheer size is not what truly sets it apart. Its skull alone made up nearly 1/3 of its total body length, an extreme proportion never seen in any living crocodilian. Because modern crocodiles have relatively shorter skulls, designed for balance and maneuverability, while Sarcosuchus carried a head built for dominance rather than efficiency. So, how can scientists be confident in these numbers when no complete skeleton has ever been found? Because in crocodilians, skull dimensions correlate very tightly with total body length, growth patterns, and mass. When researchers applied those established ratios to Sarcosuchus fossils, the results consistently exceeded the limits of modern crocodile biology. Unlike modern crocodiles, Sarcosuchus never truly stopped growing. Most living crocodilians experience a sharp slowdown in growth once they reach maturity, but Sarcosuchus followed a different biological rule. Bone histology studies reveal continuous growth throughout its life, meaning its bones keep adding new layers year after year. This pattern is far closer to what scientists observe in some dinosaurs than in modern crocodiles. As a result, age directly translated into size, and size translated into dominance. The longer Sarcosuchus lived, the larger and more dangerous it became. There was no natural plateau, no clear upper limit written into its biology. But unchecked growth always comes at a cost. Such extreme size required constant access to food, warm temperatures, and an environment that could support a predator of this scale. Without those conditions, growth like this would have been impossible. So why did Sarcosuchus thrive when no crocodilian before or since ever has? Because its world removed nearly every limit that normally keeps predators small. Sarcosuchus lived around 112 million years ago, during the early Cretaceous, in a world that looked nothing like modern North Africa. At that time, the Sahara did not exist. Instead, the region was shaped by vast river systems, seasonal floodplains, and dense tropical wetlands that stretched for hundreds of kilometers. Global temperatures were significantly higher than today, and the climate remained warm and stable throughout the year. There were no harsh winters to slow growth, no seasonal collapses in food supply, and no long periods of scarcity. For cold-blooded animals, this kind of environment removed one of the greatest biological limits of all: temperature. Food was abundant and diverse, from massive fish to giant turtles and early dinosaurs that gathered near water sources. In such ecosystems, being large was not a disadvantage. It was an advantage, as size meant dominance, control over territory, and access to prey that smaller predators simply could not challenge. The Cretaceous world didn't restrain giants, but created them and allowed monsters like Sarcosuchus to thrive. Sarcosuchus was not a coastal predator like modern saltwater crocodiles, and it did not patrol open shorelines or oceans. Instead, it lived almost entirely within enormous freshwater river systems, moving through slow-flowing mega-rivers that cut across what is now North Africa. These waterways were crowded with life, shared by giant fish, massive turtles, and herds of dinosaurs that depended on water to survive. Its body was long and relatively narrow, a shape optimized for silent movement through water rather than speed on land. Thick bony armor plates lined its back, providing protection from rivals while also acting as a stabilizer, keeping its massive body balanced as it drifted or lay in wait beneath the surface. Was Sarcosuchus a dinosaur hunter? Occasionally, perhaps. Dinosaurs that approached the river's edge were vulnerable, especially smaller or juvenile individuals. But Sarcosuchus did not need to chase the largest prey to dominate its environment. Control of the rivers alone gave it constant access to food and absolute authority over one of the most critical resources in the Cretaceous world. Sarcosuchus was an ambush predator, but not in the way most people imagine. It did not chase prey across land or overpower victims through speed. Instead, it relied on patience, positioning, and overwhelming force applied in a single moment. Its long, narrow jaws were packed with thick, conical teeth designed for gripping rather than slicing. This dental structure is nearly identical to that of modern fish-eating crocodilians, which suggests Sarcosuchus fed heavily on massive fish that shared its river systems. Fossil evidence from the same formations includes giant lungfish and coelacanth-like species large enough to sustain a predator of its size. But Sarcosuchus's sheer mass meant it was not limited to fish alone. Any animal that approached the river's edge, including dinosaurs, entered a kill zone. Did it hunt dinosaurs regularly? Probably not. However, it didn't need to, because the threat of its presence alone would have reshaped how animals interacted with water. Sarcosuchus did not vanish suddenly. Its disappearance was slow, silent, and driven by forces far larger than any predator. As the early Cretaceous progressed, North Africa's climate began to change. Vast river networks fragmented, wetlands shrank, and seasonal instability increased. The stable, resource-rich environment that supported giant cold-blooded predators started to collapse. Without enormous waterways and constant prey availability, extreme size became a liability rather than an advantage. Smaller, more adaptable crocodiles required less food, matured faster, and could survive in reduced habitats. Sarcosuchus could not. It wasn't outcompeted by another predator. It was outpaced by a planet that no longer supported giants. Sarcosuchus wasn't just a bigger crocodile. It was a biological outlier, built for a world that no longer exists. Its size, growth, and dominance only made sense under perfect conditions. And once those conditions disappeared, so did the Emperor of Ancient Rivers. Make sure you subscribe for more.